Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
This episode is brought to you by Honda. When you test drive the all-new Prologue EV, there's a lot that can impress you about it. There's the class-leading passenger space, the clean, thoughtful design, and the intuitive technology. But out of everything, what you'll really love most is that it's a Honda. Visit honda.com/EV to see offers.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Hello and welcome to the 1865 match report, where we're going to talk about Fulham's 1-0 victory over Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. So the talking point before the game was who's going to replace the suspended Morgan Gibbs-White, obviously for his second yellow the other day against Brighton, and Nuno threw a bit of a surprise in there. We started with Sells in goal and then a back four of Ola Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo and Moreno, which wasn't a surprise. But then across the midfield, we had a 4 of Dominguez, James Ward-Prowse, Yates and Anderson, with Wood and Awoniyi up front. So before the game, with a bit of speculation, is that really going to be a 4-4-2? So like, does anyone play 4-4-2 anymore? And we'll talk about this later, but basically I think we set up to stop Fulham playing, which kind of happened because the first half didn't really have much going for it in terms of attacking play. There was a chance for Taiwo, who did an acrobatic overhead kick following an Ola Aina long throw. We had the ball in the back of the net, sort of, when Chris Wood managed to get it in. I thought it had been saved, but it was ruled out for offside rather than actually being saved. And Raul Jimenez managed to get a shot in at one point. Apart from that, I can't really remember Fulham creating too much in there. And then right at the end of the first half, Awoniyi goes down in their box while we're on an attack. A shout for a penalty, but it just gets waved on. Second half, Awoniyi doesn't come out. Elanga replaces him, and we're immediately speculating that when he went down, that is another injury for him. But the first real action of the game happened when a Fulham attack, and Murillo and Iwobi, I think it was, that went down. Referee plays play on, but then gets called back, goes to the monitor, spends ages at the monitor, and calls it as a penalty. Jimenez does a double run-up, scores, and we immediately make changes with Callum Hudson-Odoi and Jota Silva coming on. We revert back to a much more traditional 4-2-3-1 kind of formation, and the game opens up, gets a lot... again, nothing really clear-cut, but it was much more exciting, faster, and more chances, sort of half chances made. Ramon Sosa then comes on, and we kind of lose all shape and formation, kind of with Ryan Yates and maybe arguably Jota Silva as our central midfielders, as maybe a 4-2-4. Nico Williams comes on towards the end, but the only real chance of note was Jota Silva shot from range, which was pretty easy for their keeper to deal with. Now, in the second half of the game, the lower September sun was shining right in my eyes, so I didn't really get a good view of any of the incidents that were happening. But luckily, I'm joined by Adam, who did have a good view. So, Adam, how was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, the whole game had this almost of both teams trying to do something that neither team allowed them to do. It was a very sort of shut down game of football. And to be honest, maybe that was to be expected. You've got a very good Fulham team coming here. You've got Forest with some massive wins recently. Maybe this is probably more of what we should expect. But yeah, second half, I can't say we really imposed ourselves on them. I think the big talking points from the second half were the Hudson-Odoi chance, which he created completely for himself, cutting in as he does from the left-hand side, getting into the box, finally gets that half an inch opening to have a go at goal, and he blazes it over the crossbar. That was probably the best chance that we had in the second half, and it was a really good chance. And it's one that, with his current form, I don't think we're being too harsh to say that he should do better with. But other than that, there was really...
Basically, he had to skip past 3 Fulham defenders, and it took him too far infield, I think. He's more used to cutting it in just from that little bit further to the left. So I think it kind of put him off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the loft that he got on the board. I think it bobbled up as he hit it, and he just got underneath it. It's unfortunately just one of them things. So, but the talking point actually more was just before that shot had actually come away, which was Elanga being toppled over in the box. Now, for me, probably not what Forest fans want to hear from me, unfortunately. I don't think it was a penalty. I think it was... There's some incidental contact. I think that if you're going to get a penalty for that, you're going to get penalties every single week, because it was one of them. There was really, really not an awful lot in it. And I would lean on saying that all of the penalty decisions were correct, even the one that Fulham were given.
Yeah, so in fact, let's go through them one by one. So we started off with a 1-1 going down at the end of the first half. I think that's not a penalty. A 1-1 went to shoot, and the defender and his foot both met each other, I think.
Yeah, I think with that one, it's a difficult one, because you could say Taiwo got there first, then got clattered, if you want to look at it from that perspective. But for me, that's telling half the story. So I would lean towards saying that's not a penalty for me.
I think if it had been given, it would have been extremely soft. Then obviously there's the one that Fulham got. So Murillo goes into the back of their player. At the time, I thought there's nothing in it, and obviously the referee waved play on. Having seen a replay of it, it does look like Murillo catches the back of his leg and then puts his hands on him, but I think Murillo was falling, which is why he put his hands on him. What did you think about that one?
I think that one was purely accidental. I think the penalty... If it was just the push, I would have been very disappointed to see it given, but it wasn't, was it? That was probably more the issue with that one. It wasn't the push that was given the penalty for. It was more the fact that Murillo is completely accidentally, he's not looking, but he's completely accidentally sort of rolled down the Achilles of the Fulham attacker. So although he's not meant to do it, although it is completely accidental, you kind of have to give it. He has rolled his studs down him. It is a penalty. I don't. It's a shame, and it's really frustrating, because you don't like to see them given in a way, because it's like, well, you didn't mean to do it, but whether you mean to do it or not, it gets given, doesn't it?
And then obviously there's the Elanga one where he skips past him and then comes back, and their player, while he's going round him, their player's foot clips Elanga and he goes down. And again, I think that would have been very, very soft if it had been given. I think there is contact, but I think Elanga was already off balance before that.
Yeah, you actually can see as well, if you watch the replay of that, where Elanga's foot is kind of already sort of slipping to the side. I think that if you can't give that. Like, I think it was more the fact that Fulham got one in the first half that fans thought that was a Stonewall penalty, because you watch it back and it wasn't.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, it's accidental contact, but the contact, the quality of the contact is very, very different in the two.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so obviously Nuno afterwards, he was saying, I don't really want to talk about referees. Obviously, he's got this hearing lined up next week, but we do seem to end up talking about them. But you would say then, in this case, the referees actually got it right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there's so... I do hate the whole looking at the screen thing, in a way, because as soon as the referee goes over to the screen, they've already gave it, haven't they?
Yeah.
That's how this works in this league. If they go and look at it, they've already, that it's guaranteed. They very rarely go and look at it and then don't give it. So as soon as he walks over, it's frustrating. He did. And to be honest, I don't really know how he's took that long, because once you've seen it slowed down, you'd think it was a penalty, wouldn't you? So It's bizarre it's taken that long to actually give it. But yeah, we've got to get somewhere with VAR where this looking at the screen nonsense doesn't happen anymore. I understand that it's a big part of VAR, and I understand they would say, well, they want to have another look at it. Either the referee gives it or VAR give it, but going to have a look at the screen with it slowed down from every angle, you're always going to find a reason to give it. And that's what frustrates me more than anything.
And well, yeah, the whole thing's kind of frustrating, the whole VAR thing, but we are where we are and all that sort of thing. So basically, there isn't really that much to talk about in terms of match incidents, was there? It was a game that was pretty much shut down possibly by Forest's tactics. It opened up a little bit in the second half, but again, I can't really think of that much that Sells had to do during the game itself. Can you?
No, I can't think of anything that either keeper really had to do. I think it was I put in our group chat, it was very much a 0-0 game, separated by a penalty incident.
The 1865 Match Report.
Jewelry isn't a gift you give just once. It's a way to remind your loved one of a beautiful moment every time they see it. Blue Nile can help you find the gift that says how you feel and says it beautifully, with expert guidance and a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Go to BlueNile.com and experience the convenience of shopping Blue Nile, the original online jeweler since 1999. That's BlueNile.com to find the perfect jewelry gift for any occasion. BlueNile.com.
You're listening to 1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast.
So, so it finished 1-0 to Fulham. That's our unbeaten record gone. And it means that it's been, 6 games or something since we've had a home win, which was also Fulham, wasn't it? So things maybe not looking quite as rosy as they did a couple of weeks ago, but we can't really complain about that. So, because as we were just saying before the game, it's like the Liverpool result kind of set very high expectations for us, but we've got to remember where we still are. We're not a top of this table side. We're not going to be able to beat everyone every week, and Fulham are very, very good.
Yeah, I think if we're trying to take all the positives out of this, and this is genuinely, I think you're right, and it's what I think anyway, but, we are probably a team that will finish 13th, 14th this year, and that is progress. Ultimately, that is progress. It might not be the progress that people want with the whole going from 17th to 8th or 7th, but that is a massive jump. And, I'm not saying that this result means that we're definitely not going to get there, but I think that this season, let's just temper those expectations slightly and think, well, just finishing mid-table and avoiding a relegation battle is actually a massive, massive step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. There is the pre-match question, which is how are we going to fare without Morgan Gibbs-White? Now, there'll be some people will be saying, well, the game was pretty flat attacking wise. It was there was nothing there. Is that because Gibbs-White's irreplaceable? Before the game, I was thinking, actually, I'm not as worried as I would have been last season about not having him there. How did you feel before the game, and how do you feel after it?
I think that Morgan Gibbs-White is comfortably our most important player. I think that was not something that many fans would dispute. I think that when it comes to on the day, I think that the better thing to do, in my opinion, would have been to have the same setup that we had the last couple of games and just replace Gibbs-White with Jota. I probably wouldn't have messed with the system so much that you've got 2 strikers that it just didn't work at all. It really didn't work at all having the 2 strikers, and I felt like someone like Jota could have really put his stamp on this game. I've been really impressed with him when I've seen him, and I just feel like this was his opportunity to step into this game, play the number 10 with Morgan out, and show the manager what he can do. And he wasn't given that opportunity. So, yeah, I think the team selection was wrong. He got it wrong. You understand what he's thinking. And to your point earlier, he did get it wrong. However, if we get one of those penalty decisions and Fulham don't get theirs and we win 1-0, we're probably not sat here saying he got it wrong.
Yeah. I think, the entire point of the setup was to stop Fulham playing, because they bomb down the wings with their fullbacks overlapping, and they play it out of defence. And having 4 central midfielders stop their fullbacks overlapping, I don't think they overlapped once in the first half until our wingers came on. And having the 2 strikers, they weren't there as strikers, they were there just basically to block the pass so that Fulham couldn't play it out. And that's why the first half was pretty flat. But it's also a very, very defensive position to take when you're playing at home, I think.
I think that's the biggest problem, and that's maybe the most frustrating part for me, is that we give Fulham an awful lot of respect. You know, they are, I think Fulham are probably a team that could maybe look at the top sort of 8 this season and think that's doable. You know, we can find ourselves there. So they're a good side, but you feel that we didn't give other teams that we've beaten that are better that much respect. And that's maybe where it frustrates you a little bit, thinking, well, actually, you know, on the day, setting up that way disrupted how we played as much as it disrupted how they played. And that's never the situation you want to put yourself in.
And then finishing the game, it was kind of a 4-2-4, but I have absolutely no sort of idea what sort of shape we were playing there. That struck me as a bit of a panicky move. Just shove as many attackers on as possible, and something's bound to happen.
I think it definitely was. I think that's exactly what it was. And I think for us, you've got that squad depth this year, so you actually almost can just chuck some attackers on and hope for the best. But if you had started in that sort of more traditional 4-2-3-1 that we've played, or really taken the game to Fulham, you could argue that they're going to be more dangerous, but then you're going to be more dangerous. So the thing there is, can you be more dangerous than they are?
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Not like we're strangers to playing a bit deeper and then having the Callum and Elanga tracking back quite a bit, because they're quite comfortable doing that as well.
Yeah, you've got wingers there that work really hard, and I think that if you've got a team that can attack as well as we can, but also breaks really well on the counter attack, and I think I would have set up the exact same way we've set up in the most recent fixtures, because I think Brighton, I don't think we were at our best, but we got some out of the game. Liverpool, we were excellent. That one's obvious, but I don't know. I understood why he went for 2 up front, and to a point, it worked more defensively than it worked attacking. That's more frustrating than anything.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it was a match very low on incident, very low on attacking chances, pretty low on excitement. Although my watch did tell me I had a high heart rate at one point, which I was a bit surprised about, because I was like, why? What was I getting excited about there?
Was that in the queue for a beer?
Probably. But so Chelsea away next. That's going to be a tough one. And I could possibly see a bit of a repeat of the defensive lineup again. But it's different when you go into an away game. Question there is, how do you stop Cole Palmer after his 4 goals?
Well, I think the answer is you don't. I think you've got to hope that he has an off day, haven't you? I think, everyone sat watching Match Today last night thinking, why have I taken him out of my FPL team? That's what I was doing last night. But no, look, it's going to be a tough game. Chelsea away. We did very well there last season, but this isn't the same Chelsea. This is, Chelsea under Enzo Maresca look a really good team. I was surprised actually that Brighton shipped 4 goals to him, to be honest. But it shows what Chelsea can do. And I think if they play like that against us, we're going to really struggle. But you just do we've just got to do what we did against Liverpool. You've got to go there with that sort of mindset that we can go there and get something. Don't be scared of anyone. But it's certainly going to be a tough game.
So we'll be back with a report after that. Obviously, we'll have the women's football report coming in the week and the Friday Five as well. So thank you very much, Adam, for joining me. And thank you, listener, for coming with us. We'll be back next week. Thank you and goodbye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Do you know what it takes to be iconic? You are iconic. I am iconic. I love Iconic Agua. I drink Iconic Agua every day. Join the movement. Hydrate with Iconic Agua. Find Iconic Agua in all Kroger and Ralph stores across America. Because when you're thirsty, there's only one way to hydrate. And that's with the world's best tasting spring water on earth. Hydrate responsibly. Iconic Agua, where hydration meets greatness.